Hello, welcome to our CSCI 340 database. And for today's our lab, we're going to cover including doing the views, okay, index, and also transitions. So all these that can help us to giving a SQL like optimization, also the data abstraction. Okay, it can provide more like reliable. Okay, so we're trying to know one thing we talk about was a view. So how can we create view or delete views? Okay, some view is like we want to retrieve certain records, data, okay, and then well, right now so far if we retrieve it, we have to execute every time, right? And we think how can we save those results? So we can use this one called like create views. So after we create, then we can save those selected result, okay, and also we ask about okay, how can we create an index for the performance? How can enhance your performance like for the searching performance? Okay, so if you remember in the lecture, we talked about okay, how can we do the indexing? Okay, and also we can try to provide with the I think a transactions table, and then all this like we can know okay, if we commit the transaction, then we can say okay, we can execute this part, or we're thinking okay, we cause some issue. Let's say you delete a table, delete certain record. If we create using transaction, then we can keep it as a record. I mean, okay, so if we make any mistake of the SQL statement, we can roll back. Okay, that means we can like retrieve back. So it's a pretty good behavior. So you're going to do it in the lab so you can follow. So this one you need to know the views. It's like a virtual table. So it's like based on our query executed. So we can use it to like simplify some like complex queries and secure data. So if we need to select something based on the query result we selected, then we can create the table. Okay. And the advantage when we're using it, we know like we can try to simplify the SQL for sure, and also we can actually it can giving the data securities and try to giving a like consistent presentation because like we like already saved a view, so next time we can just show it so make it more consistent or kind of like giving a logical data independence. Okay, so giving in doing this way. And what's the syntax? Okay, so you can see the syntax right here. Let's say if I want to replay a news one, or if we don't have it, we can just create, or we already have a view, then you can or replace it. Okay, and then giving called that the view is called sales. Okay, so as so is a syntax, and the following will be the same syntax the query we are using. So select from where. Okay, so what kind of like columns or attributes we need to select from which tables, and then what's the condition. Okay, so after we select this one, you remember we have to execute every time, right? Okay, run this query every time. But if we save it, okay, create or replace a view, so then there's a how can we? So you can create or replace it so we can update it. Okay, and then the next one is about the index. Okay, so the index is the aim of it, we try to speed up the retrieval operation. Okay, so we kind of working as the both index. So that's we cover in our lecture. So the possible index, the type including the single column, so like maybe let's say the ID, some the name, okay, address, okay, wherever, or but also we can do it in the like composite way, okay, or the unit or like the full text the index. But later we talk about actually not, it doesn't mean, okay, if I adding all the index, it means like we can add it, it brings the advantage. It doesn't. Okay. So you need to be careful. So if we have a large table, sometimes we want to like doing search or like when we join the column sometimes. So it's better to using index, so add it. But for small tables or for some columns, we like have a frequently like updated those attributes, then we try to not adding index. Probably when we apply on the let's say user ID, employee ID, okay, user number, okay, those something like we barely change it. Okay, so we can apply the index. It help us to search it. But if we know something, we always like frequency update, then try not to apply index because we always need to show it. If you remember in the lecture, we talk about that. And another one is called a transaction. Okay, so it's a is talk about like single logical unit of work. So it can help us like we call the reliable is the acid properties. Okay, so you can give it what's the acid. Sometimes we talk about acid is like automatically and then consistency and isolation and durability. Okay, so here's the acid. It's a short terms. Okay, so and how can we start the transition? We can start to like as a start transition. Okay, commit. Okay, and then roll back. That means that once we start the transition, we can execute certain SQL queries, and then if you're thinking it's okay, we can commit it. If you think there's some problem, we can roll back. So they basically there's a syntax we're going to use. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Sometimes if we have the bank transfer, let's say like this, if we have a debit equity, such as if we could cause any error, okay, then we can roll back. Okay, that means like when we start the transaction, then we think, okay, we try to execute the SQLs or whatever, like update tables, create tables, okay, delete tables, okay, and all this. If think, okay, we can commit it if we observe we know there's some like problem occurred, then we can use the rollback. Okay, and quickly summarize everything. So we try to use things views to giving some abstraction, provide security. Okay, some simple data, and then we try to giving index, try to create index in our database. So you can provide faster reads. Also, we have the transactions. Okay, so giving safety and then consistency. Also, it also comes with the property acid, right? So acid property you need to remember was the acid property. And so far, if you are okay with it, then you can start with the practical questions right here. So how can you create the views? Okay, or let's say modify the views to show some like let's say after you create everything, okay, you show all the attributes in the first one, and the next, how can you update it? Okay, I want to only show two attributes, title and price, or I want to drop the views. Okay, you can look at it, or let's say you can find a table and adding an index based on certain maybe certain titles or some because you can create like using the database to create a new tables for testing. Okay, so you can insert one or two tables, or you don't have because I didn't give you a new database. So far you can based on what you have. So you can work on your original tables. Okay, or you can just create new tables and add like insert one or two records, whatever you like. Okay, you have a title, price, author. Okay, or you can copy. Okay, from other spaces and then insert those data and then try to execute. Okay, and also you can try to execute a transaction and then try to update like certain content, like work on the tables. And if you change it later, you can roll back from the change. So this one is more like flexible. Doing I didn't give you, so you can try to practice like try to create a new tables and then insert maybe like 4 to 5 records, and you can try. Okay, and then adding a price. Okay, so you can try to execute it. If you're necessary, I can generate and then you can try. Okay. So for this part will be so far will be the lab we're going to cover for the our database. And remember the last one is I think it's like almost I say 4 weeks left, 5 weeks left. So you need to remember to form the groups, okay, for your group projects. And I will make the announcement. Also, you need to as a part one, you need to submit the titles or like what kind of project you want to do. Okay, and then you need to decide maybe start with the some maybe the ER diagrams, okay, as a basic or some like tables or what the attribute included, okay, and later we're guiding you how to start the project, and I will let you know more details. Okay, thank you.